T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
That is right, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Welcome you guys to Women's Wrestling Talk. I am joined by none other than my co-host today, the beautiful Leslie. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm so excited to finally make my big debut tonight. I know I've been teasing my debut on the Raw after show, but I'm finally here. I do want to thank you for holding it down for the last couple of weeks. I was back in Mexico. I was in vacation, but now I'm finally back and ready to start this show with you.
Super exciting. I'm super excited. How does it feel to be finally here on the red brand?
Oh, I love it. You know, Raw has always been one of my favorites. I used to do the Raw after show. It's been already a year. So it's good to be back. It's good to be, talking about wrestling again, especially during this time. The Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view. So I'm excited to make my debut today, right before the big event.
I know. I want to welcome everyone in the comments. We are here. This is our take-home episode. We got Mika in the chat. We got a lot of people filing in. But yeah, this is a take-home episode for us for Monday Night Raw post-show. We got a lot. I'm going to show you guys a brief ticket of what we have going on. A lot to cover, and I'm really excited. A really stacked night. Monday Night Raw did a great job in the first 2 hours, and then it kind of dwindled down. So let's just jump right into it. So since we are on the take-home episode of Royal Rumble, let's start off with all things men first, because I like to get all the men out the way. I'm super excited. We have the Royal Rumble coming up live this Saturday, streaming live on Peacock, of course, the 30-man Royal Rumble match. We saw some matches between some of the contenders today. We saw AJ Styles defeat Austin Theory. We also saw a matchup between Damian Priest and Kevin Owens. So there was a lot that went on. We also got a match between the Street Profits, Rey Mysterio and Dominic. So with that being said, going back to the list right quick, Leslie, who is one superstar that just really pops out as a winner for you this year?
It's so hard to pick both men and women. But I'm thinking, if we want to kind of get back into the New Day era, I was thinking every time I see Big E, he always catches my attention because he has everything that everyone always loves to see, like the entertainment part, the mic skills, the wrestling skills. So I would love to see him win a Royal Rumble. But one of my favorite moments in the Royal Rumble always has to do with Kofi because he does the craziest things. So, it would be cool to see him win, not just pull those stunts and then get eliminated. That's no fun.
That's no fun. And you bring up a really good point. I think it is always exhilarating and very exciting to see Kofi in the Royal Rumble. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a little biased here. I am pulling for Sami Zayn. Too much conspiracy. Too much conspiracy. I think I would like to see him win. I will say this. I think Austin Theory is starting to become kind of like a wild card. We saw his interaction tonight with Mr. McMahon. What do you think about that? Do you think that Mr. McMahon is going to come around and give Austin Theory his graces or something?
If he does, honestly, at first I'm like, where are they going with this? Because it's really interesting to have like the big guy,
Yeah.
Mr. McMahon, the one that owns everything, do a promo. So, and with Austin Theory, I'm like, okay, he must really like him or believe in him to be doing these things. Because I'm sure he's a really busy man. So, it'd be interesting to see him win the Royal Rumble. But after tonight, I was definitely entertained. I was interested in like his skills in the ring were amazing. That match with AJ Styles was incredible. So I wouldn't be mad. It would be nice to see someone new. I feel like for the last couple of years we've seen kind of the same similar faces go for the titles. So to see someone like a middle card guy, you could say, go for something so big and to change like the game, why not?
I definitely agree, and to that point, to get in the ring with someone like AJ, who is celebrating his, I think it's 5-year anniversary with WWE as
Yeah.
a whole, that's amazing, and that's very telling. Austin Theory is someone who's been around for a long time. I think
Mm-hmm.
that he's just really getting that spotlight attention. We remember him
Yeah.
back with his role with Seth Rollins and other things that he did during that time, and then he kind of went back to NXT for a while, and so
Mm-hmm.
to see him now getting kind of a different grace with Mr. McMahon, it's really big.
Yeah.
Someone that we've seen for almost a little over 20 years now. We caught the weigh-in between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Now I want to go back to this pick really quick because honestly, like I'm not gonna lie, like I felt like a kid all over again. Like this moment, hearing Paul announce Brock Lesnar and him being back,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be very biased here. I was waiting for the day that Paul got back to Brock and left Roman. What are your thoughts?
Really? I
Yeah,
like to see something different. So
yeah,
I like to see kind of that confrontation where it's like, ooh, who is he gonna choose? Is he really gonna choose Brock over Roman? And it seems like that's what happened.
that
But
is.
I love to see this like Brock Lesnar, this more kind of silly type of guy, but can still like kick your butt if you mess with him. So I'm loving this look. I'm loving the fact that every time he comes out, he looks different.
I
Plus,
mean, it's sick,
how can you
honestly.
not like that? I mean, come
It's
on.
so funny. It's so
So,
funny. And honestly, they didn't get through the weigh-in, of course.
mhm.
Brock Lesnar does this really fun thing, like he likes to play games. We saw
Yeah.
a different side of Bobby Lashley. What were your thoughts when you initially saw how Bobby Lashley just kind of stood in the ring? Do you think it's going to be a moment of he has all this built up aggression, or do you think that this is like Brock's way of tearing down another beast?
I don't think so. I think Bobby's kind of giving him his moment, like let
Mhm.
him have his moment. But when it comes to the Royal Rumble, I'm gonna show you who's like the boss, pretty much. So I think it's gonna come out. I think he's just being patient. He's playing it. Normally, we would see Bobby kind of go after his other opponents, talk a lot of like trash to them, but he's being
Mhm.
like a little bit more cautious. I think because he knows like Brock Lesnar is not someone like to really mess
Mm.
with. So I'm interested to see like how he changes during the Royal Rumble. I think finally he's gonna like let his anger out and really
Yeah.
just go at
I
him.
think that's a good point. I don't know how I feel about that though. Like who I love Brock. I've always loved him, and I love how I know we went through this time where he was keeping the title captive for a while. I personally
Mhm.
enjoyed it. I love when superstars can piss fans off because typically I like to play devil's advocate myself.
Yeah.
I do think, and we can do this for every match. Who do you think realistically out of these two is going to come out victorious?
Well,
Is
it's
it going to be Brock or is it going to be Bobby Lashley?
yeah, I 100% believe it's going to be Brock. I don't think there's going to be a
Mm,
change in that.
mm,
Not yet. At least I feel like it would be too soon. You
mm.
don't like mess with Brock Lesnar or his title reign like that. So I definitely think it will stay and he will still be champion.
That's a good observation. I don't bet against Brock either. I really love to see him in a different magnitude as this character is just, I mean,
Hmm.
beyond, so beyond. But speaking of change, we had a spelling bee tonight from your new Raw Tag Team Champions Alpha Academy. in an academic challenge where they take on RK Bro. Now, honestly, I didn't know what was going to happen with this segment. I didn't know where they were going. I really was, it was a very, very much a slow burn. But let me tell you this, probably one of the best segments we've seen it on Raw in a very long time. What were some of your favorite moments of the whole debacle?
Honestly, this was actually one of my favorite moments of the entire episode. I think because it was very entertaining. One, Raw is already a really long show, so to have something like that and really catch the people's attention, I loved it. I love the fact that they went back and forth and nobody thought Riddle was going to get the word correctly. But like you said, I was a little hesitant, like, what is this going to be? But this whole RK Bro thing is amazing. I don't want it to end. I think it's just so hilarious because you also get to see a new side of Randy where he's going along with it. And I just love it. So this was definitely a fun segment.
Definitely a fun moment. And when Chad Gable misspelled the word because he wasn't willing to listen to the definition, I thought that was really a key point in what was really going on. I also love to see Chad Gable be put in this position where he can be, a talker. And you guys that are watching along, make sure you guys tell us what you think. Were you entertained, or did you want more, or what do you think? Because Riddle announced that next week it's going to be a scooter race.
I'm so excited about. That should be very interesting.
Crazy. Well, one of our last segments for the men that we'll talk about tonight is one of my favorites. I got to see him perform for the first time in Nashville SmackDown. He was a surprise guest with Seth Rollins. I was so amped up. I didn't know what was really going to happen. But he faced off with Damian Priest, and we saw a side of Priest that I don't know. Like, were you surprised to see the result in the way that it did, or is this a new era of Priest?
I was a little surprised, but at the same time, no. I feel like if they're gonna have a big match, it is gonna be at the Royal Rumble, just because it is so soon. I didn't expect for them to have like a change in titles right now. But I like this new side of Priest. I think it's definitely gonna give him more of that like spotlight that we've been waiting for. He's kind of been cruising along, but now that he has his championship, I think it's time for him to like step it up a little bit, and this is definitely where it starts.
Step it up a little bit. I really like that. I will say that I do feel like we are gonna see a moment where there's a breakthrough in Damian. I just don't know that we'll get the same result as him tonight retaining. And even though he retains his title, Kevin Owens still technically wins the match. So it makes me question, are we going to see this go into a no DQ or go into something further, or is it just kind of like a one-off for Royal Rumble? I'm very interested in seeing where this feud could go, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely do believe it's going to be a no DQ. It's kind of like, we've had too much of this. Like, now let's go all out and just go ahead and do it. So, which I think is going to be a good feud, a good match. So why not?
Definitely. And our editor-in-chief has checked in with us tonight, Santana. We also got Tevi and Mika in here. One of our writers, Sam, was in here. Joseph always showing us love.
Yeah.
And I agree, Santana. Love this Damian and KO feud that's starting to build. I hope it is a build. I really hope it's not just they're just gonna one us off.
Yeah.
And someone who is a close friend to Damian is going on tour, you guys. Any Bad Bunny fans out there? Tickets go on sale Friday. He's going to be having some special guests. It really looks like he's going to be packing out a lot of the cities. Make sure, we're still in protocols with a lot of things. So make sure you guys are wearing your mask and getting your test and doing everything that you need to do to make sure you can attend in your city. So with that being said, we have finally almost moved on with all of the men. I'm going to start with the celebration of Maurice. Big shout out and a happy birthday to Maurice for that celebration. But we all knew.
Of course.
something was gonna happen, and none other than the Grit couple itself. I'm gonna let you take this one first because I've ranted a couple weeks about this, and I'll give my piece on it. But like, what is this feud giving for you?
Okay, hold on. Before we get to that, I have to shout out to Santana because one, she's been holding it down while I haven't been here. And for those of you who don't know, I am a huge Bad Bunny fan. I spent 6 hours trying to get my tickets for those concerts, and best believe I'm gonna spend another 6 hours this week to get my tickets. So Latino Gang, we're here. We are present right here. But anyways, back to the show. I love it. I love mixed match matches.
Like mixed tag matches.
Mixed tag matches. Yeah. I'm missing a word there. But I got a little too excited with the whole Bad Bunny thing.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And to me, I don't know how you feel about this, but Beth looks amazing. She like kills it every time she comes out, and I'm interested to see where it's gonna go. I know the last time Maurice had a match, I think it was with Nickie, and she didn't really do a lot of moves in the ring, so I'm curious to see. I know she had a huge injury, that's why she stopped wrestling. So I'm interested to see kind of what it comes about. Like, I know the Miz obviously and Edge are gonna have their match, and it's gonna be like a lot of them wrestling, but I do want the women to kind of shine. I want them to have their moment. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know what to expect, to be honest.
I don't know what to expect either, and I don't even know if I want it. I'm gonna say this. I just recently went back and watched the Nickie Brie and Brian versus the Miz and Maurice match, and I personally thought that the match itself was astonishing, and I want to see where they're gonna go with this whole thing. And you're right, Mika, the women's part of the feud will die with the match Saturday. There's a big possibility in that, sadly. I would have loved to see a one-off. It's just, I've said this on the post shows before. This isn't doing anything for me.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say, but it's just one of those like one-offs that they're just kind of filling us with something. If this was WrestleMania, I almost feel like this feeling would be a little different because it would really be a little more monumental. I don't know if it's just me, but there's just something. And I hope so too. Santana says, I'm really hoping there's a moment between Beth and Maurice during this tag match. I do too. I'm just not banking on it. Like, I don't know if it's gonna truly happen or what are we gonna do. And that's why I wanted to start off with it, because there's so much that I just feel like is either expected or it's literally just about Beth having the moment with Edge, and that's awesome. I love that. There's just a lack of understanding, which I guess is their job, which, to be honest, I've ranted about this also, and we're going to move on to someone who is my favorite, but I'm really frustrated right now with the whole Bliss thing. Like, what are your thoughts, Leslie? What do you think this journey is really going to be? We saw a glimpse of Bliss, as we've seen for a couple weeks now. Like, what are we doing here with the whole Bliss thing?
That's the thing. I'm a little confused about it because I really thought she was going to have a complete change of character. I thought it was going to be like a whole 360 where she was not going to be in this character anymore. I don't know how much longer they can go with this whole Lily thing. I thought she was going to go back to like Bliss, the original Bliss. So it's interesting to see that they're still doing kind of these promos about it. I do want to see her in the ring. I feel like she's such a big part of the women's division, and she has like great skills in the ring. So obviously this character has shown that she is great at promos. She's great at like doing this whole character with Lily, and I loved it. I've said it before, I was not a huge fan of her before this character, and this character opened my eyes to see that she's so talented. all around. But I want more to it. I feel like we're kind of just like desperately waiting, like what's next? Where are we going with this? And I think it's time. I hope, yeah, like Santana said, that we see her in the Rumble, and I think maybe like that's the only thing though. In the Rumble, you can only do so much because you can't really like explain her character. So it could be interesting to see if she is part of it, how they're going to go about that, because they're kind of just giving us like little bits and pieces, but not really the whole explanation or where are we going to go with this.
Which is true. And honestly, I feel like there's going to have to be a moment where Bliss does enter the Royal Rumble because she's such a key moment and piece. We've had these discussions before on Clubhouse where Bliss was one superstar in the women's division that really was neck and neck with the four horsewomen. When there was Becky and Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley, Bliss was also there. And Bliss really carried herself. She got better in promos. She got better in the ring. I would like to see her go back to her old self. Because it's almost as if there's just something going on. And to that point as well, for the old gimmick, I think it could go so many ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the level of frustration can be there, because there is a sense of, oh, what happened?
You're good.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Something, but yeah. So something popped up on my screen. But yeah, like I thought it was. I think it's good that we're still able to see her, and get to this journey. We also got a 6-woman tag match tonight, which was amazing. We have Liv, Rhea, Dana Brooke, our 24/7 champion, versus Carmella, Tamina, and Nicki. What were your initial thoughts on all of these women just being featured?
One, I love the fact that there was a lot of women being featured tonight, but I wish the match was longer. I think the match ended too soon. I wanted more. I feel like a couple of the women really didn't get to like show their in-ring skills. So I was a little frustrated about that. I appreciate the fact that they were shown tonight, but I did want this match to be longer. If it's a 6-woman tag team match, you expect for like every single one to kind of get their moment, like a big moment, not just like a 1-second hit. But I wanted more. But it also made me excited for the Royal Rumble. I know obviously everyone's gonna have their time to shine. But it was okay. I just wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as well, because in a sense, the pacing, could have been a little better. It was good to see all of the women. I'm a huge Dana Brooke fan. We were in Clubhouse earlier, and I asked that out of the 6 women, and you guys can comment as well too, because we'll spend a little time on this a little further. But I said, out of these 6 women, if this was the final 6, who would you want to see go over? Realistically, I think a lot of people would pick Rhea Ripley. She's an obvious choice in this 6. For me, it was Dana Brooke. I would love to see someone like a Tamina, but I'm going to ask you, out of these 6 women in this match, if this was the final 6 in the Royal Rumble, who would you love to see go over and really get that WrestleMania moment?
I definitely have to agree with you in regards to Tamina, just because she's never had her moment. But someone that I've been wanting to have her moment so bad, she kind of did, and then it never went anywhere, is Liv. So I would love to see for her to like finally, can you give her something?
No.
It's like, why not? It's like you're handing her something and taking it away. It's like, here you go, but no. Here, I was just kidding.
I personally, everybody knows how I am about Liv. I have nothing for Liv. I really feel like I had to say, and I wasn't even going to do this. Before we get into this, though, Liv was a part of the winning team tonight. I will give her that. It was Rhea that actually defeated Carmella, getting the pin for her team. I've kept it brief, really and truly, through this whole debacle of Liv getting her title shot. And I'll say this over and over again, and it might be controversial. Sometimes we all get to a moment where we feel as if our favorites, need to have a title. I think there needs to be more than just someone getting a title. My issue and the disconnect that I've always had with Liv is that there's no character development. It's not exciting for me. The whole thing was really just a tear on someone whining and crying for a while. What I will say this, to all the people that love Liv Morgan, do I think that she's gonna get a title ever? No. What I think should happen is that the 24/7 championship should possibly, we've talked about this a lot too, possibly be just designed for the women, kind of like a mid-card title, because I feel like that would be good for her. I will always say this, and I will forever stand by this. Until it gets better in the ring and until it gets a character, Liv Morgan is not a believable champion for me. I wouldn't want to walk around and profess that Liv Morgan is my Raw Women's Champion. I have issues with that. But I do, and I'll showcase this picture too that I saw on Instagram. If this was a trifecta, they would have no problem dominating. This is a look. And it's to my point that maybe, in my eyes, I'm just not disconnected to Liv being a single star because I haven't been given anything. Two of her best matches that I've seen in this whole thing is the one with Carmella when they did the kickoff show, and then the one with Bianca for the Troops event. And lastly, and I'll end with this because I don't want to go on a tangent of Liv because people know how I feel. It's okay. It's okay. Everyone cannot be at that pinnacle. Sometimes if it's rushed, I think they dropped the ball at Money in the Bank. If you would have given her an accolade before, look at someone like Carmella, who's a two-time Money in the Bank winner, SmackDown Women's Championship. She's won a Royal Rumble that's not like an actual Royal Rumble, but like a...
Yeah, but you have to remember how she won the ladder matches with help. It's like,
but it still built a character. Like if they would have they should have given Liv Money in the Bank. Honestly,
that's the thing though. She has potential. I appreciate potential. I'm very big about in-ring skills, and she has the potential, and she's actually trying. My big thing is like a Eva Marie. Like she didn't really bring anything, but she was still given like a lot of things. So you can't compare her with Liv because Liv has actually been trying. And I think even like Becky has said it herself that she wants her to be a champion because there's probably a lot that we haven't seen yet of her. And I also believe in her just because I am a huge Total Divas fan and I've seen her story. I've seen her personal story and I've seen her struggles. And I love when I can connect with wrestlers in regards to their personal story. So I think that's why a lot of people root for her because she has like a rough story in the sense of like she's worked really hard to get to this point. So I think
people feel sorry for her.
Yes, and more of like motivation because she's kind of been the one to become the superstar in her family and help out her family. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So I think it's more of like they need to find the correct angle for her. But does she have the talent? Yes. Can she become champion one day when they have the right character for her? Yes. I just think it's about, you may disagree, but I think a lot of people, it's about timing. It's exactly like with these tag team titles. They are being handed to people that I believe do not deserve it. So it's like, I don't know. It's a whole controversy, but
it is definitely, and I love it.
Potential. I believe that she has the potential.
I will leave you with this, and we'll move on. When I find that potential, you'll be the first to know. I don't see it, but there it is. I will move on
to disagree.
I will move on to two people that had a great match tonight. I will say this: it really was good to see Bianca Belair head to head with Queen Zelina. This match definitely probably could have went a little longer as well, but overall, I really enjoyed the athleticism and the technical ability that we saw between these two. What were your initial thoughts?
I loved it. I think someone who has really built her character is Queen Zelina. She started from being just a valet to like coming into her own character, showing that she can really do a lot of things on the mic alone, in the ring too. So I really appreciated it. I love the fact that I don't know, but to me, Bianca was like glowing in this match. She was like glowing today. Her look was a little bit different. And I'm like, I've always been such a huge Bianca fan. So I love to see, anytime that she has a match and to see I was like interested to see how it was going to come about because they're obviously very different. Zelina is much smaller than Bianca, but she pulled her weight. It was a really good match.
She definitely did. I think the first before Zelina made her comeback, it was a hit or miss in some of the matches that she was even involved in before.
Yeah.
But when she came back, it was kind of the same thing. And I do see a lot of growth and improvement. One thing I will say with Zelina, and that I will give her a pass on, is it's not even just about how well her character is. It's really developed. Yeah. And I think that's what really crosses over. I honestly think that her and Carmella have saved the tag team division for now. The promo that they cut last week pertaining to Rhea and Nikki was amazing because I felt like there's not really anything else going on. Yeah. I do want to ask though, did you think it was a little weird that the tag team champions were kind of split up and doing their own thing?
Yeah, because even if you're one as a tag team, you're always together. I expected Carmella to kind of be her valet at least, because you would think that, as champions, we've seen it before. It's like normal for them to be together, even if they're having matches separately. So I really didn't like that because, again, it's showing like a difference between the women's tag team champions and the men's tag team champions, because we don't really see that. I do believe it's like, again, they don't really know what to do with the championships. They don't know like who to pair up next, which I've always had a problem with that. I feel like they kind of created the championships to kind of like shut people up, but I feel like women deserve more. It's not just like, oh, here, give it to you next. But I do agree with you in the sense of like they've kind of saved the tag team division, but I'm interested to see who is going to be next to fight for those titles.
I'm very interested too. Another thing I'm interested in is this victory from none other than Bianca Belair as well. I'm almost certain that she has her eyes set on becoming the first ever two-time woman to become a Royal Rumble winner twice. And that's really big, and we'll definitely get into that a little later. I do want to move on. Of course, I love to save champions for last. You guys know anything about me, I'm not going to bet against my 4. None other than Raw Women's Champion Becky sat down with her number 1 contender for Royal Rumble, Doudrop. And I had some reservations about this meetup, honestly speaking. So I want to know what you think and your prediction on this match.
Oh, I mean, I think it's everyone's prediction. Becky is definitely going to retain. How can you take it away from her? She's amazing. Ever since she's came back, when she started very controversial, like with the whole Bianca thing, and
Don't remind us.
Yeah, I know it was bad, but she's good at pissing us off, and she's also good at like her mic skills have developed so much. I love when she talks trash now. It's so hilarious. So I'm loving this. I didn't expect it to end how it ended. So I feel like it's gonna add more like fuel to the fire on Saturday, and it's just gonna be a better match. So it's gonna be good. I'm excited to see this.
I'm excited too, because I must say I definitely had my reservations on certain things that I felt as if, okay, what's the direction that we're going? I really thought they might have given Liv another off and kind of given her this moment of getting, because the way that Becky and Liv kind of ended, and then we went into a number 1 contenders match, and then Liv takes the pin, and now it's Doudrop, and now we're here. It's really weird for me because it's almost like, is this just a kind of one-off, or are we gonna get like a legitimate story? Because they're getting the split screen. I personally, and I don't know if it was just I wasn't paying attention, I never remember Liv and Becky getting a split screen in the entire like moments of them having a feud. I'm curious if that would have helped build the believability, because I'm going to tell you, going back to last year, I think it was Carmella and Sasha Banks, and they were having their split screen, And that made me really feel like Carmella could really go over Sasha Banks. Like this might be the moment. And I'm not gonna. I mean, I know that Becky reminds me of someone in a horror movie that has immunity, kind of like a Sidney Prescott in Scream. She has immunity in this company. I don't think she's ever going to lose that title. And I think when she wants to have a child again, she's going to drop the title again. And I think we're going to look up and she's going to be the Raw Women's Champion. However, Doudrop shook the table.
Yeah.
There was a big moment where I felt as if Becky was a little nervous. And to this point, Joseph, and I'm going to ask Leslie how you think, is Doudrop the biggest threat to Becky?
I do think it is. I think she's different. I don't think she's anyone that Becky has ever really faced. So she's bringing like this challenge that Becky doesn't really know what to say, or how she can't really say the same thing she's said before. She's not saying the same lines she always used to say about herself. Now she's kind of shook, like, what do I say? Because she's really coming after me. So it's interesting to see, you know, how Becky's reacting. But do I think Becky's going to lose? Absolutely not. No. Becky will lose her title when she wants to lose her title, not when anyone else wants to.
One of our writers, Mika, made a good point. I don't think biggest, but she is a contender. I do think that is a good argument because she has had to get in the ring with Bianca. Bianca's a very tough competitor, and she's also defeated Doudrop. So that puts her clear. We all know that, and we've heard the rumors today about the whole Ronda Rousey. Possibly, you know, it's speculation, the dirt sheets, you know how it gets, that this could be Ronda. However, I do think that in no capacity, if Bianca doesn't win, I still think that there's going to be, we have to circle back around to the whole Becky and Bianca thing because Bianca was screwed.
Of course.
And it wasn't, I think they started to notice that really did not play out the way that they really thought that it was going to play out. The same with Becky's feud with Liv. I think a lot of people really thought that this might have been the moment. I think the ending of that is really weird, and that's why they're shuffling right now. It's going to be interesting to see, and we'll get in this now because we'll end with this. But we have the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yes, we do. The most important one.
And if you look at this, you see legends to divas to superstars to people who have changed the landscape of women's wrestling as a whole, from Brie mode to hardcore country to all of it. So same with the men. And I'm going to pull it back up one more time. When you look at this picture, who do you see as your initial winner of the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble?
I think after you were talking and you made those really great points about Bianca, I think it would just be perfect to kind of fix that whole feud with Becky by having her win again. And one, should be making history. And then two, it'd be good to kind of like clean things up after the whole Becky thing. And then to have such a huge, like to main event WrestleMania, it would be amazing. And if anyone can do it, it can definitely be Bianca. And if anyone can be a contender for Becky, it is definitely Bianca. It would be a good long match and it would be very entertaining.
It would. Are there any others that you see? And I'll bring it back up again. Who are some other people that you're kind of focused on?
Her. One, I've always been a huge Bella fan. I love the Bella twins. I'm excited to see them back in the ring. Obviously, I don't expect for them to win. But if it was up to me, I would have loved, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if anything has been announced yet or if she's kind of like hinting at it. But if Bayley comes back in the Rumble, I would die.
Is that like automatic if she comes? That's like who you're rooting for?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I've always been a huge Bailey fan, and if like anyone can come in and mix things up and really like start talking trash, it would be great. It would be Bailey because one, she's part of the Four Horsewomen, and she's been gone for a really long time, and for her to come back and kind of like shock everyone and win the Royal Rumble, it would be great. So hopefully.
Before I go on my tangent, because people, I'm sure they know it's coming. I want to send my condolences to Sasha Banks. Here at Women's Wrestling Talk. We are, you're in our deepest thoughts and prayers. Sending all the love and condolences. I do think it was Sasha's year. I think that this was probably the moment where we were going to see, even if Bailey returned, I still think that there was a moment where Sasha was going to be like, you know what? No, like this is my moment. I will say I definitely, and shout out to Mickie James, Impact Knockouts World Champion, currently. And what's so exciting about that moment, is just seeing how they're recognizing the Knockouts Championship. I was there at Hard to Kill in Dallas when she took on Deonna Purrazzo in the Texas Death Match. And when I tell you, these are women that are changing the landscape of what we're used to. And to have her here in the Royal Rumble is very important. And the importance has a lot to do with what we're seeing now. We didn't get to see a Forbidden Door open in AEW for the women. We did not get to see the big matchup between Deonna Purrazzo and Britt Baker. Now we are getting to see Mickie James come back and put her focus on none other than the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. Now, this is Raw, and I've been consistent on Raw, but I'm going to say this. I don't bet against Charlotte.
Of course not.
On Saturday, she will become the first woman to win the Royal Rumble 2 times as a champion. Now, would I like to see someone else go over? Absolutely. Would I love to see Charlotte win? Absolutely. You know, there's another thing that I would like to see. If she's eliminated, please understand, and I'm saying this, so please put your ears on, put your mic in. Eliminating Charlotte Flair on Saturday is bigger than winning the Royal Rumble itself.
Oh yeah.
Because you eliminate a champion. I would love to see, and Mika said this in the comments too, Naomi is another big pick.
Oh yeah, of course.
Naomi is someone who is in a position right now. It would be almost, it's so clear for her to win at this point. It's unbelievable to even think that we're in this moment of this story. And of course, they'll talk about this more on SmackDown. But there's so much. I think that this time last year, we knew that Bianca was going to win. We didn't care. We didn't want anybody else. We were just like Bianca. We want Bianca, Sasha. And so this year, and I'll share it again with these women, I just really don't know.
I think, like Joseph said, the Women's Rumble is so much fun because you can't go wrong with any winner. And it's true. Anyone can shine, and we're here for it. We love to root women, obviously, on Women's Wrestling Talk.
Yes.
So I think that's what makes the Rumble even more exciting, that there's really no clear winner. Last year, it was pretty clear that it was going to be Bianca.
Yeah.
So I think I am still a little bit upset that the surprises got ruined. There's obviously more surprises. But that's why I love the Royal Rumble, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen, and you're always surprised. So we'll see what happens.
And I mean, you don't never know. And I mean, even with tonight, we don't know. And of course, this was our Monday Night Raw post show. This is our take home episode. Make sure you guys come back Friday, SmackDown and Rampage after show with none other than our very own Santana and Stephanie as well. Leslie, let these people know where they can find you before we get out of here, because I think they're ready for us to get out of here.
All right. Make sure you follow me at Leslie Colon _ and I'll make sure to update you guys on next Monday. So make sure you tune in to see if I got those Bad Bunny tickets.
I know, I'm super excited. I might have to go see. I'm not a super fan, but I love to go to concerts.
The experience of your life.
I saw the Panama City Beach, and I was just like, that might be the move. You guys can always catch me here, your senior writer and host for Women's Wrestling Talk, none other than Nickie Booshie, Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you guys follow us on all platforms. And again, you guys, this is the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Okay. And please, whatever you do, I don't care how late it is, don't forget it.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.